you for joining me today. I do truly appreciate it. And I want to talk today about a book that I read. Just finished it this morning, very early. And I love the book. Right up front, I love the book. And it is, right here is the edition that I read, The River of Souls. It is the fifth book in the Robert McCammon, Matthew Corbett series. It's a series that I probably wouldn't have read if I didn't like Robert McCammon so much. Ultimately, the series itself is set at 1699 is where it starts, with the very first book in the set, Speaks the Nightbird. And so here we are, early 1700s in book 5. And it's a fabulous set. I've heard it compared to James Bond, to Sherlock Holmes. Anyway, Matthew Corbett has become a sort of a private investigator. They call it a problem solver. But River of Souls, on Goodreads, this book is actually one of the lower rated books in the series, perhaps the lowest. And it's also the shortest. I think it's just over 200 pages in this form. This is the Levidian Publications trade softcover version. I've also got the limited edition version, signed and limited version from Subterranean Press. This one is numbered. Let's see, how's it numbered? This one is number 259 of 474 copies, and signed by Robert McCammon. Look at the cover there. The cover on both books helps to tell a key role in the story. But the edition that I read was the newer one from Levidian Publications. And looking at the cover artwork on this soft cover, it is a great one. I like that it tells multiple aspects of the story. But like I said, it's the fifth book in a series. And this is colonial era in the United States, before it's actually the United States. Matthew Corbett is a problem solver. And he's living in New York City, early New York City, which is nothing compared to what it would become pretty soon. But he's sent to Charlestown, North Carolina, to make a little money for the company that he works for. And his job is to take a girl to a ball, to take a girl on a date. And naturally, things don't go as planned. And that's where this book starts off in an interesting way. And it's something that McCammon has done in some of his short stories, where you start right off in the middle of the action. And that's what the beginning of the book felt like. So you start off right at this ball. And Matthew Corbett is on a date with this girl, the most beautiful girl he'd ever seen in his life, he said. And boom, this big joker, massive monster of a man, big straggly beard, greasy hair, and all that stuff comes in, and he's wanting to kill Matthew Corbett, just like he's killed all the other guys that's tried to take his woman. He's in love with this girl. Obviously, she cares nothing for him. But her dad keeps hiring people to take her out because she likes to go to fancy places, and it turns out they know what's going to happen when she does. But Matthew, this very witty, very intelligent guy, this problem solver, he comes up with a way to solve this problem. Magnus Muldoon, this monster of a man, challenges him to a duel. He pick your weapon, Matthew Corbett, and Matthew outsmarts him. A great opening to the story, but it only starts off the fun. Matthew goes and approaches Magnus Muldoon at his home, comes up with an offer for him, and then bad things happen in the process. A girl is killed, the daughter of a plantation owner. He has slaves. The girl is found dead, and one of their slaves is reported to have been seen standing over her with a bloody knife. So he runs, a couple members of his family runs, and the accusers round up a bunch of people to go up the River of Souls, which is what they call it. Some people call it the River of Souls. I think it was called the Providence River. I think so. Go up this river after them. They're going to bring them back, dead or alive. There's a warrant out on their heads, dead or alive. Bring back their ears is what they talk about. And this river is supposed to be haunted. There's supposed to be natives there who are essentially a group of natives that are all off they're out of it. They're ones that have been kicked out of their different tribes, and so they live together on this river, and they waylay people as they come up the river, and they're all crazy, and they do some crazy things. You'll read about that. But some great adventures ensue along the way. I won't tell you anything more about it. What I just told you is the very beginning of the story. It's a multifaceted story, and the story ends. It's not a spoiler. I'm just gonna tell you this. This story right here feels like it's just part one of a story. So the sequel to this one is called Freedom of the Mask. And I haven't read it yet, but reading the synopsis of Freedom of the Mask, it's essentially taking off where this one ends and going on. I mean, exact on there. Read it and you'll find out. But I think this book, it was rated a little over a 4 on Goodreads, which is a good score. Lots of books that I love have lower scores than that, but I think it's better than that. I give it dang near 5. I mean, if we're doing points, 4.75, I would probably say, but on Goodreads, I rated it blam, 5 stars. I really did like it. And one thing about this series is it is Robert McCammon flexing on us all. He's flexing on us, showing us how great of a writer he is, how great of a storyteller he is. He's not showing off some dramatic prose or anything like this, but he's telling us a story and it flows, and he is one heck of a storyteller. And you can tell he has passion for this era, for these characters, for these places, this story. And he seems to be taking it, each book so far, to a different place. So Speaks the Nightbird, they're going to this little village called Fount Royal, and they're going to help decide. He's working for a magistrate at the time as a clerk, and the magistrate is there to help decide if this lady that's been in prison there is a witch or not. Matthew thinks not, and he has to try to solve that problem. And this is where we get to know him first. Speaks the Nightbird. We get to figure out how he is a natural born problem solver. And then each book takes us to a different place. And that's one of the neat things about it. And the next book takes us to London. So I'm excited to get into that. I'm going to jump right into that book. I'm going to go right from this one to the next one. Seems like I'm going to finish the story, at least finish this story in that one, just as a new setting. But Robert McCammon's stuff, I cannot recommend it more. At the end of this year, that'll be December of 2024, the very last book in the Matthew Corbett series, Leviathan, is going to be released, and they're going to have a release party at the Alabama Booksmith in Birmingham, Alabama. And this will be the 3rd year that I've gone to a book event featuring Robert McCammon at the Alabama Booksmith. So I got my tickets today, matched them buttons. I bought a couple signed books, so me and my youngest son will go there, hopefully meet some cool fellas, hopefully meet Jeff Terry. I met him there last couple of years, got to hang out and chat. I'd like to go to dinner and hang out a little more after the show, maybe even Philip Fracassi. I think he had hinted that he may be interested in going too. Wouldn't that be something? Seeing 2 of the greatest authors walking God's green earth at one event and getting to hang out with them, at least hang out with one, getting to meet Robert McCammon, see his little show. He does a great hour's worth of a show there, get some stuff signed by him, and then get to hang out with one of my other very favorite authors who ever lived, and that's Philip Fracassi. So it'll be exciting for me. But I really did like The River of Souls. This series is great. It's not really my cup of tea. Colonial era in the United States is just not something that I was ever that excited about. And I was born near Williamsburg, Virginia, go figure. Anyway, with Robert McCammon telling the stories, I'm in. And he's changed my mind. Honestly, he's changed my mind. Reading the passion that he has for that era, getting to know characters of that era, it's like going back in time. And he's changed my mind. I'm now a fan, and I'm excited to read the rest of the novels. I do not look forward to it being over, knowing that there's no more to come. Maybe somebody else can pick up the torch and write more. Not Matthew Corbett, but write more great stories set in that era. Anyway, great book. I strongly recommend it. Start with Speaks the Nightbird. This is not a series that I would recommend you pick up halfway through. A lot of people ask that about a series, and there are some authors out there that write all the books in a series as a standalone, and you can easily just grab one anywhere and read it. I would recommend, if you don't start at the beginning with this Matthew Corbett series, not only will you not know some of the stuff that's going on or some of the characters that pop in and out, a couple of characters from past books pop in here. You wouldn't know that, so you would miss out a little bit, but you would miss the development. Each book is a development of the Matthew Corbett character, is a progression of his life. So I recommend start with Speaks the Nightbird, read on through. If you don't like it, I'll be surprised. I would recommend the series to anyone, including my wife, and we almost never read the same things. But I'm pretty sure that she would love this Matthew Corbett series. I think I might have her warmed up, perhaps, to give it a try at Speaks the Nightbird. The problem is, if she reads a book that I recommend, I might have to read a book that she recommends. I don't know if that's a fair trade or not. Anyway, thank you for your time. I do truly appreciate it. I can think of no more lies to tell. C'est la vie, baby. Doo-doo.
It's terrific. It's terrific.